Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and I'm cracking a pack. Today I'm back with another Zendikar Rising Draft Booster pack. I haven't yet picked up my Zendikar Rising bundle. I'm still waiting for the price to come down. Right now I can only find it at Target and Walmart for over $40. I know it's going to be available later on. I want to pick it up when it's down around $30. Until then, I've got some other packs. Let's get to cracking this pack. Alright, first card out of the pack is Synchronized Spellcraft. 5 mana, 4 and a red instant. Synchronized Spellcraft deals 4 damage to target creature and X damage to that creature's controller, where X is the number of creatures in your party. For 5 mana, you're going to deal 4 damage to a creature, and then more than likely 2 damage to your opponent's face. Party seems to be a mechanic you can get, but not quite often in draft. Tazim Royal Mage, 2 mana, 1 and a blue. Merfolk Wizard at 2/1 has kicker for 4 generic mana. When Tazim Royal Mage enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Card you can play early on is a 2/1 in the blue-red Spellslinger deck. If you hold it in your hand later on, you'll get a 2/1 body and grab one of your better instants or sorceries out of your graveyard and return it to your hand. Farsight Adept, 3 mana, 2 and a white, core wizard at 3/3. When Farsight Adept enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each draw a card. A 3/3 for 3. Okay, vanilla. I get a draw card. Sounds good. My opponent gets to draw a card? No, I do not like my opponent drawing a card. Fissure Wizard, 2 mana, 1 and a red, Goblin Wizard at 2/1. When Fissured Wizard enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Rummaging ability in red, stuck onto a creature, 2/1 for 2 that can draw you a card, get rid of the land sitting in your hand. Okay, but remember, landfall is in Zendikar Rising. Reclaim the Waste, single green mana, sorcery, has a kicker of 3 generic. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. If this spell was kicked, search your library for 2 basic land cards instead of 1. Downgrade from the uncommon version of these. For 4 mana, you can put both of the lands tapped onto the battlefield. In this instance, for 4 mana, you just get 2 land cards in your hand. With landfall, that's not too bad of a mechanic, but typically you want to trigger both of those lands at the same time. Marauding Blight Priest, 3 mana, 2 and a black. Vampire Cleric at 3/2. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. White-black has a life gain theme to it. Marauding Blight Priest fits right into that. Being able to have your opponent lose life when you gain life, not too bad of an ability. I have a showcase card, Prowling Felidar, 4 mana, 3 and a white. Cat Beast at 2/3 has a vigilance landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Felidar. For 4 mana, 2/3 with vigilance, not great. But being able to play a land, it continues to grow and your opponent has to deal with it. If not, a 4/5 or a 5/6 vigilance can really hold down the fort. 2 showcase cards in a row. Canopy Baloth at 4 mana, 3 and a green. Beast at 4/3. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Canopy Baloth gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Being able to turn this into a 6/5 or maybe even an 8/7 is great. Not having evasion holds this card back a little bit, but in a green-white landfall deck, Prowling Felidar and Canopy Baloth can do work. Tuk Tuk Rebel Fort, 3 mana, 2 and a red. Wall at 0/3 has Defender and Reach. Creatures you control have haste. I have yet to be able to play this card. It just doesn't seem to fit in the strategy I want. Most of my red-white decks already have a haste sort of ability. Green-red, possibly. It just seems to be a very awkward fit, and it's been a card that I've cut. Glacial Grasp, 3 mana, 2 and a blue instant, tap target creature. Its controller mills 2 cards. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Draw a card. With blue-black rogues having a mill theme, this could fit in that deck and do a good job in shutting down one of your opponent's attackers, give you card advantage while furthering your mill game plan. First uncommon is Moss Pit Skeleton, 2 mana, 1 black, 1 green. Plant Skeleton at 2/2. It has kicker of 3 generic. If Moss Pit Skeleton was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature you control, if Moss Pit Skeleton is in your graveyard, you may put Moss Pit Skeleton on top of your library. I found this card to be pretty fun. Black-green has a +1/+1 counters theme. You will have the ability, if it dies, to be able to put it on top of your library and then play it once again as a 5/5. Pretty cool repeatable effect. Next incoming is Mind Carver, single black mana artifact equipment. When Mind Carver enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. It gains +3/+1 instead as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Equip cost 2 generic and 1 black. Definitely fits into the blue-black rogue mill theme. Outside of that, it drops off considerably. Final uncommon is Umara Wizard, 5 mana, 4 and a blue, Merfolk Wizard at 4/3. Whenever you cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, Umara Wizard gains flying until end of turn. And I'm not going to flip it over because I don't want to expose the rare or mythic rare. You have the choice to play it as a land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and it taps for a blue mana. I'm not sure what I feel about the modal double-faced cards. I don't know if I really feel like they replace a land. Maybe they replace half of a land. I'm still trying to find that out as I do more drafts. A 5 mana 4/3 is okay. I don't like that it gets conditional flying. I think it would be a much better card if it had flying all the time. And then our rare or mythic rare is going to be Rolling Vortex. 2 mana, 1 and a red enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Rolling Vortex deals 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Rolling Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. You can pay 1 red. Your opponents can't gain life this turn. I think in playing this card, you're definitely going to want to be in a red deck where you're going to race life totals, and obviously you're going to want to have a little bit more life than your opponent. Being able to keep them from gaining life, especially if you're playing against a white-black life gain deck, is going to be key. I'm not entirely sure how well this is going to function in draft, but I will keep my eye out on it. And then a full art island and cat token creature at 1/1. Okay, my favorite card or best card out of this pack, I think I'm going to go with Moss Pit Skeleton. I've had the opportunity to play it once in draft and have it played against me in draft. Find that it's a pretty effective card. I don't really feel like you ever want to play it on turn 2. You're always going to wait until turn 5 and put it out as a 5/5. The key is setting up your deck to make sure you have +1/+1 counters. If so, Moss Skeleton is completely a repeatable effect that is going to keep coming back and make it difficult for your opponent to deal with over and over. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comment section what was your favorite card or best card of the pack. Until next time, when I'm back to crack my next pack of Magic the Gathering.